Hey guys, what's up? Daniel here. Today we're going to be taking a look at this personal mobility scooter. Now, this is basically a Segway without a handle. It's not as stable and you won't be able to go as fast as a Segway, but it's definitely a whole lot cheaper. This particular model I found on Amazon for roughly $450, which is on the expensive side of these, but I wanted to get it a little bit sooner and not have to wait roughly a month. But if you're willing to wait, you can get these for $300 or close to that, or even cheaper if you get them for places like AliExpress, Alibaba, and other Chinese marketplaces. Now, you've probably seen this device. It's been shown in a lot of news networks and a lot of talk shows because there's different celebrities promoting different brands. You got the IoHawk, the Phunkeeduck, the Futurefoot, we got the Mono Rover, and from what it looks like, it's basically the same device, and the manufacturers or the people starting these companies are just changing up the logos. Now, I don't know if they're using different batteries, if they're maybe using different software, but after using this and seeing what this can do, I can't imagine spending $1,100 more on a version that's going to be a little bit better, even if it is. It might not be, it might be, but I wouldn't recommend spending the $1,100. With that said, in the box I got a charging cable, some pads that you can put on top of this board, which you have to, I guess, glue yourself, and I got a user manual. Now, the manual is in English and it's very easy to understand. It has a lot of typos in it, but it doesn't really help you in any way. There's no tips on how to ride it. It tells you a few things, but basically you're going to be alone with this and you're going to have to figure it out with trial and error. And of course, we have the board itself, which I got in black because it just doesn't attract as much attention as the other colors. Now, when you first get this, you're going to want to charge it for roughly 1.5 hours or 2, because it does come pretty much halfway charged, or at least mine did. I didn't charge it, but it's always best to, because you want to prolong the battery life, and this promotes healthy battery life onto the device. Now, right away, the battery life on this thing was roughly 5 hours, a little bit over 5 hours. So it's definitely enough to get you from work to home or anything like that, or use it to commute to school, or go to the gym, or go to a pool, or go to pick up the mail, or anything like that. It's going to last you a good amount. It's definitely not as much as it advertises, but it's enough. And I used it way more than I would on a normal day, just so I could kill the battery life and see how long it lasted. One of the first things I wanted to find out is what terrain this can go over. I tried it out on grass and gravel and a few other smooth surfaces like wood and ceramic and things like that. And on gravel and grass, they both don't really work. They don't allow the scooter to go really fast because it's trying really hard and forcing the motors to go. So on the grass, it's too soft, and the gravel's a bit too hard. So I don't really recommend going on that unless you have to, but you're going to slow down to a pace that's even slower than walking. So then there's no real point of using it on those surfaces. I was also interested to see how it would handle bumps and something like a speed bump or even just a hole in the ground. Now, as far as speed bumps go, they're quite easy to go over once you get the hang of it. There's a lot of trust that goes into letting this thing go over a speed bump, mainly because if you do it incorrectly, what's going to happen is the board's going to start to spin or lose its grip, and you might get scared and fall, and you never know what can happen with a fall. So you should only try one of these things once you're really comfortable with the board and know how kind of to fall correctly and not fall back and hit your head or anything like that. You should wear a helmet when using this because it's still quite fast and you could fall and get hurt pretty bad. Now, as far as the holes on the ground go, you're going to be good as long as you don't freak out and try to overcorrect anything from the hole. And what I mean by that is once you go over the hole, you're going to feel that the skateboard or the board fell hard and it's going to shake a little bit. And if you try to overcorrect that shakiness from the board's stabilization motor or anything like that, then what's going to happen is you're going to scare more, the board's going to move more, and then you're going to fall. And that happens a lot when you first begin to try out the board, if you haven't had any experience like this before. Now, if you stay still and you're calm and careful, then you're going to go over the bumps without a problem, and you're just not even going to feel them after some point. As far as going downhill and uphill, I found it really fun because it doesn't gain momentum when going downhill. You still feel safe since if you're going down a very steep hill, the motor kind of tries to keep it where it's at unless you speed up and move forward. Now, if you move forward on a hill, you want to be careful that your feet do not touch the ground, because if that happens, then you're going to fall off the board, and vice versa if you're going uphill. It doesn't matter if you're going uphill and downhill. You just don't want to turn too much on the board so that your feet hit the ground, because you could fall pretty bad. So what about riding this thing for 10, 20, 30 minutes or more? Now, personally, I was not able to ride this for more than 15 minutes or 20 minutes in one single without stopping and resting for a second. Mainly my feet just started to burn, and also the back of my legs, because I don't know, it's just staying in this position and forcing yourself to kind of be with the board isn't very natural, and it's not as sluggish as you might think. Like, you're not just standing on the board and the board's just taking you. It does require some kind of mental, stability, and also just physical stability to stay on the board for a long time. If you do exercise, I'm sure you'll be fine, but if you don't do this normally, it's going to also hit you hard, and you're not going to be able to be on this board for any longer. I ride ripsticks, and I can ride that for as long as I want to, but this I just wasn't able to. I guess it's just the way that you're standing. It doesn't allow you to comfortably be on it for a long time. So that's something to keep in mind if you're going to go a long distance, like you're going to go, I don't know, pick something up from the local pharmacy. You might get there with very sore feet, and you're gonna have to rest a little bit. Now, what about speed, right? So speed, apparently it can go like 8 to 10 miles per hour. It really depends. A bunch of the descriptions say different things, so there's no real set limit on one of these, but I wasn't able to get it to go more than like 4 or 5 miles per hour. After that, it would begin to shake to a point where if you just speed up a little bit more, that thing's gonna flip and you're gonna fall out and go flying. And I'm not sure if it was just this model and it was a little bit defective. When I opened the box, it did look kind of used, but I'm not 100% sure. I bought another one to check it out and see if there's any difference. So I'll tell you guys then, like on Twitter or something, I'll tweet it out. But for now, as far as this one goes, it's very unstable, and the fastest I could go was approximately a very slow jogging speed. Like if I was a mall cop and I was trying to catch someone, I would never be able to catch him. Like in a million years, they're gone. So if you do decide to get this, just kind of be prepared for something that's not going to take you fast. So if you need to get somewhere quickly, like from one class to another, this is probably not going to be the way to go. This is as much as an electric scooter and a whole lot more than a good bike. So those two things are definitely a lot more efficient if you're going to be using this for an actual commuting device. This is more of a kind of fun toy, Ripstick 2.0, to take you to the grocery store and get, I don't know, some vitamins, or go and pick up the mail, or go to the pool, something like that. Just a cool little fun toy that's going to take you from one place to the other without having to walk. And as I mentioned, it's not too sluggish of a thing. You kind of do feel like you're doing exercise on this thing. So, just keep all those things in mind when you get this. Don't expect this to be an amazing device that's going to change your world. It's not really all that amazing, but it is really cool, and you're really going to enjoy it. So overall, I actually do kind of recommend this device. I liked it. I liked using it. I liked the experience of kind of going from one place to another like this. You're going to get a lot of weird looks from people, a lot of questions from other people, because this is kind of like a new thing. People haven't really seen this. And people were, they liked Segways, so they're really gonna love this now because it's a lot more affordable than a Segway. So just to recap, it's gonna last you close to 5 hours, which is a good enough time. It's going to take roughly 3 hours to charge, and if you do charge it, make sure you unplug it at 3 hours. Set a timer on your watch or on your phone for 3 hours and unplug it, because if you charge it more than that, it's actually going to ruin the battery on this device. So make sure to not overcharge it, or don't leave it charging overnight. And then of course, as far as terrain goes, you can only go on smooth flat surfaces. Some bumps you're going to be able to go over. If you have to kind of jump over a bump, you just keep on going and you kind of just force over the bump and you'll go right over it. But all those things you won't be able to kind of do on day one. They're going to take some time to get the hang of it so that you don't fall and potentially ruin this device that you just purchased. But yeah, guys, that's pretty much it for this video. If you have any questions, feel free to tweet at me at RMRDNL or at DarGadgets, and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Aside from that, I'll catch you guys in the next video. Goodbye.